Hi, Katie.
Hello.
Can you please introduce yourself and tell me what you do at Edmund Optics?
Sure. So my name is Katie Schwartz, and I am a design engineering manager at Edmund Optics in our Tucson office. And so actually for the past 10 years, I've done optical and optomechanical design, but recently I've moved into a management position. And so now I oversee some of our design group, and I help to make sure we have the right resources to get design work done for the company.
Including me.
Yes, including you.
So can you tell us a bit about what Edmund Optics does and what kind of markets they touch?
Yes, so Edmund Optics is a global manufacturing company of optical components and optical subassemblies. So we manufacture, we do our own design, and we help customers go from prototypes to production level products. So optics is a bit of what we call an enabling industry in that it is in a lot of other markets. And so we basically sell to other businesses and other markets outside of optics to help enable products that you as a consumer or a customer would buy off the shelf.
Great, thank you. It sounds like from what we've learned in all these interviews so far is that components are really what enable all the other markets. And so being a component manufacturer puts you in a place to really be able to touch all of the potential markets and affect all of them, which is great. Can you tell us a bit about what brought you specifically to Tucson and what brought Edmund Optics to Tucson?
Sure. So for me personally, I actually grew up across the country in Western New York and went to school at the University of Rochester, which along with University of Arizona are two of kind of the premier colleges in the U.S. for optics. So I did my undergraduate in optics at Rochester. I kind of accidentally fell into it. I heard about it once I got to campus. I'd never heard of the field before then. And then when I was looking to do my master's degree, I looked into Arizona and learned about optomechanics, which is kind of a cross-discipline engineering field that touches both optics and mechanics. And so I ended up coming down to Tucson to pursue focusing on that for my master's degree. And I really liked the weather here, and I really liked all the options for working in optics within Tucson. And so I've been here since 2008. Oh, and so the other part of your question, as far as Edmund Optics coming to Tucson, we are headquartered in New Jersey, actually right across the state border from Philadelphia. And we do have global locations for manufacturing and sales and distribution. But the Tucson office, right now we're about 30 people, but it started about, I would say 25-ish years ago. There was interest in having a presence in Tucson because of the optics industry and because of the talent pool with the University of Arizona. So it started off as a small sales office, but quickly turned out to be a design center simply because there was a lot of people available here and there was demand for having people on the West Coast and servicing West Coast customers. So the design team has grown a lot. I joined in 2010 when we had a few designers, and now in 2021, it has grown to a significant number more. And so we now also have West Coast technical and sales support. We have an R&D group. We're in the process of opening up a second building that has manufacturing and advanced assemblies capabilities. So really Tucson is a great spot to be if you're in the optics industry, both for talent and for supply chain. So EO has continued to maintain the site here and continued to grow it.
That's fabulous. So I see on your background, it says the future depends on optics. And we've heard a lot about this. Part of the International Day of Light celebration is really the emphasis on how optics is the future and is a part of the future. And you called it an enabling technology. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Like, how does the work that EO does, affect the future of our local economy, of optics and photonics, of how we interact with the world around us?
Yeah, so EO does have our, I'll say our tagline, "The future depends on optics," which it absolutely does. And also our present relies on optics. Our past has relied on optics a lot. So I think a lot of people don't realize how much optical technology underlies a significant amount of their everyday. So a lot of the technology you use, from things that right now are as basic as the internet, enabled by fiber communications, things like your cell phone camera that, are pretty ubiquitous. And now we look into the future of robotics and self-driving cars that uses imaging. So there's a lot of places where optics is being used, which is really critical to your everyday. And so going forward in the future, optics is continuing to push technology forward. A lot of automated imaging and automated processing for, we'll say, manufacturing processes use optical technology. Like I said, your self-driving cars of the future will use optical technology, and it will continue to increase speeds for computing power, miniaturization of technology. There's so many things that rely on the semiconductor industry, which is enabled by optical technology and chip manufacturing. So really, even if if an individual or person isn't familiar with optics at all, even if you don't know the details, it's driving a lot of what you're using every day. And so there's going to continue to be a need for optical engineers and all of the supporting industry and optical technology going forward.
It's absolutely true. So it's great though. It's very, what we've heard so far from all these, all the companies, is that it's integrated into our local economy, and it's very much going to be integrated into the future of all of the overall economy. So that's great. That's all the questions I have. But is there anything else that you want to share or talk about for those at home?
Yeah, so I'll just say that, even if you're not familiar with optics or what an optical engineer is or does, I would definitely encourage those of you who are students at any level, or those of you who are parents, or those of you looking to make a career change, look at the optics industry, look at the University of Arizona, look at your community colleges. If you're in Tucson, you're in one of the kind of premier locations for the optics industry. And one of the things that really sold me when I was an undergrad on the optics industry was, the statement that people are always hiring optical engineers. There's always job openings in optics. It's a well-paid industry, and it's true. And so I don't see that demand slowing down anytime soon. I see the demand for people in the optics industry increasing, and that's not just engineering, that's also technicians or people who can do high precision work with their hands in manufacturing. So I would just encourage, if you're in Tucson, take a look at the careers and what you can do within optics, even within other, what I'll say, kind of tangential positions like sales and marketing. Those have a call for, people, or the optics industry needs those roles as well. So yeah, I would just encourage people to take a look at it and consider it.
That's great. That's great advice. Well, thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate your time and you willing to talk to us and tell us all about Advent Optics. Thank you.
Thank you.